Hi, you guys. It is Alicia Laporte here. And hey, welcome. I am so excited to share with you a few tips today about follow-up. We have all heard in business that the fortune is in the follow-up. So I just want to share a few tips with you guys today so that we can stop leaving money on the table, so that we can stay on people's radars, right? So that we can get more sales, so we can build our team, so we can increase our income. It all goes back to having consistent follow-up, right? It starts with prospecting, of course, first. Then it goes back to having consistent follow-up, having a system in place, and really going after the leads when you get them. Stop letting leads kind of drop off and never go back to follow up with people. So I want to share my screen with you guys and hope that you can see my screen. Okay, so let's start here. Hopefully you guys can see my screen okay. And look at these numbers, guys. I mean, completely amazed when it comes to follow-up and how many people in business do not go back and follow up when they gain a prospect or a lead. 48% of those in business never follow up with a prospect. You know, that's crazy to me, but it happens. And, you know, if I'm honest with myself and I think back to the leads that I've had before, I would probably say that I followed up with everybody at least one time. But there's many times where after that first or second time, we kind of drop the ball when it comes to our prospects and we forget about them. And at the end of the day, we are leaving money on the table. So as we go through these numbers, I want you to start thinking about your business in particular, and just start kind of evaluating how your follow-up process goes. You know, how consistent are you with follow-up, and where do you kind of fall when it comes to these numbers? 25% make a second contact and then stop, okay? 12% only make 3 contacts and then they stop. And only 8% of people in business actually follow up with a person more than 3 times. That's crazy, right? So let's look at the next set of numbers, because when you look at the next set of numbers and you compare them with this, it literally blows your mind. And this is why it's so important that we create an effective follow-up system that works for you. First of all, let me say that, because there's lots of different follow-up systems out there, and you have to find one that works for you. Some people like paper, some people like computer systems, and there's more than one way to run your business. The most important thing is that it is effective for you and your particular business and how you run your business. So look at these numbers. 2% of the sales are made in the first contact, right? And we already saw from the previous slide that most people are not contacting people after the first contact. Only 2% of sales are actually made in the first contact. 3% of sales are made in the second contact. 5% of sales are made in the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. I mean, once again, go back to your business and think about where you fall and if you're dropping the ball and essentially leaving money on the table. So if you guys know me, you know that I love to speak about mindset, and I believe that everything starts with the mindset. And in order for us to really create an effective follow-up process in our business, we have to start here. We have to have the right mindset for follow-up. We have to have the right mindset for success, because at the end of the day, belief drives behavior, okay? So I want you to think about your mindset, your mood, the things that are coming out of your mouth, the thoughts when it comes to following up with your people. Have you ever caught yourself thinking or saying some of these things? Oh, I don't want to bother them, right? Or I don't want to be a bother. Have you heard yourself saying, they would have called if they wanted to join, or they would have called if they wanted to purchase the product. I don't know what to say, and so I just don't follow up. Have you ever felt like you were becoming a stalker when it comes to following up, right? Feeling like you're just constantly bothering the person and kind of in that stalker mentality. And have you also thought for people that you followed up with and you never got a response? Wow, how rude of them not to respond. I'm so guilty of that, because I feel like, especially when we have technology these days, like social media and Facebook, when we can see that a person has actually seen a message, you know, for us, it's kind of rude if you don't respond. I personally would rather somebody just be completely upfront with me and say, hey, you know, I'm just not interested. Oh, it's not just a good time for me, rather than just ignoring the message. But I'm going to touch on that a little bit too, and how we have to give people a little bit more leeway when it comes to this no response type of thing. Yes, some people are completely ignoring you and blowing you off, but not everybody is. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so let's talk about what follow up really means, right? What does this word really mean? Sometimes we have this negative kind of connotation or negative perspective about follow up, because at the end of the day, that we don't want to be rejected, right? We don't want people to tell us no. We take it personal, and that's just the way it is, right? And we have to learn how to kind of detach ourselves from the outcome and just know that it's our responsibility to share the information. It's not our business whether they say yes or no. Of course, we want them to say yes, but we know that the no's also play a part, because this is a numbers game, and we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about now what the word follow-up really means. Honestly, it's just another way of saying staying on people's radars in a non-selling way, right? At the bottom here, you see out of sight, out of mind, right? And so we want to stay on the person's radar. It means continuing to cultivate relationships with people, right? Even after someone has purchased products from you or has joined your team, it's important that we continue to cultivate those relationships. You know, this is where we talk about sending out those thank you cards, and just sending out, you know, messages to people, even when you're not trying to sell them anything, and we'll talk about that. You know, just being thoughtful, you know, and just continue to cultivate those relationships, because that one person can lead you to so many others when it comes to referrals and things like that. We have to be the customer service for our customers. We can't depend on It Works Global to be customer service for our customers. We have to be that. So continuing to cultivate that relationship. Continuing to cultivate the relationship when people don't decide to buy from you right now, right? No doesn't mean forever. It just means not right now. Sometimes it's about timing for people. Whether we're talking about the opportunity or whether we're talking about products, timing is important. And just because we need it so badly, for whatever reason, doesn't mean that the other person is in the same boat. So we just have to continue to cultivate that relationship. Don't burn bridges. Continue to just be thoughtful. Continue to engage with that person on social media, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And also continuing to add value to people. I talk about this all the time, that is so important that we continue to add value to people. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be related to our particular product or service. Right now, if you guys have noticed, I've started doing some Facebook Lives. And, you know, my Facebook Lives don't necessarily talk about the opportunity. There are some where you maybe should specifically talk about the opportunity or specifically talk about a product. But what I want to ask you is, what are some of the things that you like? What are some of the things that you're good at? Are you good at crafts? Do you love hair? Do you love makeup? What type of skills, what type of value can you add to other people where it's not related to anything that you're selling? Just get on there and add value to people. Your inspiration, your empowerment, whatever it is that you have, make sure that you're doing that, especially when it comes to social media. So like I said, out of sight, out of mind, and this is where follow-up is really all about. I want to share this example with you guys. This was a message. This was a follow-up that I did on my business page. And so I had a ton of leads on my business page. So when the new year came, I made sure that I went back through those old leads. For anybody who had not joined me as a customer or distributor, I went back and I sent them the message, right? As you can see, the very first message was from November. In November, I had scheduled an appointment to talk to this young lady, and I did talk to her. Now that I'm remembering the situation, I did talk to this young lady. I had an interview with her over the phone, and I remember her actually knowing somebody that was doing the business, and she was kind of thinking about it, but you know, no decision was really made, right? And here it is. I don't follow up again until now. It's January, okay? That's really too much time has gone by with no kind of follow-up whatsoever. But in this particular case, it had been November and now January. What's that? December, January, 2 months before I go back and I follow up with this young lady again. But it's awesome. If you just look at this message, what happens? She actually was on Instagram and saw somebody else posting about the business, and it triggered in her mind about our particular conversation about the business. Get down, Riley. So, and this young lady actually joined the team. She actually joined the team like the week later. So this is what I mean about, you know, kind of staying on people's radar. I'm blessed in this particular situation because it could have turned out differently. You know, this young lady could have joined the other person that she saw on Instagram. She didn't have to come back to me, but there was some kind of impression that I left on this young lady where she remembered me. And despite her already knowing somebody who was doing the business, she decided to join me. So I love that. And so we just have to stay on people's radars, because the last thing you want is to know that you talked to somebody and then you didn't follow up and that person end up joining with somebody else. So we have to make sure that we continue to do that. Like I said, it's a numbers game, right? Success in your business can only come from consistency. I mean, you hear that time and time again. Consistent prospecting and consistent follow-up is key. If you don't play the numbers out, the sale will go to someone else, like I just talked about with that previous post. She could have very well as joined with somebody else. And so we know that this is a numbers game, right, guys? So this is why you have to be very, very intentional about getting prospects, about getting leads, about, you know, continuing to post your stuff on social media, continue to go to networking events, continuing to have parties, whatever way that you get your leads. You have to make sure that your funnel stays full so that you're always having people to consistently follow up with, and eventually you'll have those people who say yes. Okay, so of course I can't have a conversation with you guys because you're watching this recorded video, but just start thinking to yourself, why does it take so many follow-ups before people make a decision? I mean, and just simply think about yourself and some of the decisions that you've had to make, and why did it take you so long? You know, sometimes it's simply because people need to warm up to us, right? People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so sometimes it takes several exposures before that person says yes to you. So just think about, you know, the reasons why you have taken so long to make a decision. And sometimes we have to give people the benefit of the doubt and go back to the numbers before. The numbers before has said that it takes between 5 and 12 times before people say yes to what you have. Okay, so I have about 3 or 4 tips for you guys, and let's start with tip number 1. It's so simple. It's called just do it. You know, sometimes we, excuse me, we get so afraid for whatever reason, fear of rejection or not knowing what to say, and we let those things hold us back from following up with people. So tip number 1 is simple. We just have to do it, right? Because what is the worst that can happen? A person tells you no. Are you going to live? Yes. How many people have told me no, and I'm still here to share this information with you because it didn't kill me, right? It actually made me stronger. It actually made me better, because the more people that you talk to, the more confident you get in what you're talking about, right? You come across different objections that people have, and the more people you talk to, the more you learn how to know what to say and how to handle those different objections with people. So number 1, just do it. It's all about your confidence, your poise, and your posture, right? You know more than the person on the other end. So just own it and just go after it and do it. If somebody tells you no, they're not saying no to you personally. They're actually saying no to themselves. So detach yourself from the outcome and just know that you have been blessed with an amazing opportunity. You have been blessed with some amazing products, and it's your responsibility to just share the information. It's not your business whether they say yes or they say no. Okay, so here is a screenshot of a message. And the reason why I decided to share this one with you guys, this was a young lady, as you can see. It looks like she responded to an ad on my business page from July. So she must have responded in a thread about the opportunity. So I immediately went to my messages and I sent her a message and said, thank you for responding. And my goal was to book an appointment with her, okay? She never responded. It looks like I didn't follow up to September. Bad, 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 guys. Too much time went by without me following up with this young lady, okay? I follow up in September because I never heard back from her in July, right? And in September, I still get no response, okay? Follow up number 2. Now I go to follow up number 3, and it's January, September, October, November, December, January. 4 months go by, and I decide to follow up with her again in the new year, right? I sent her a message January 22nd at 6 o'clock, and bam, January 22nd at 6:14, she responds. Hi, Miss Laporte, Happy New Year to you as well. Yes, I'm interested in making extra income from home. Awesome, right? I go back to my main objective is to get this young lady on the phone. So what time is best for you? We schedule a time and we actually talk. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the conversation with this young lady. First of all, I get on the phone with her, and if most of you know, I've shared my interview sheet that I use when I'm having conversations with people. And so I do ask a lot of questions. You know, I'm asking, you know, how old are you? Are you single? Are you married? Do you have children? What do you do for a living? I talk about some of the dreams that they have. I talk about what they don't like about their life and all that kind of stuff. I'm building up the dissatisfaction because I want to present this as a solution that's going to help people reach their dreams. And what I found about this young lady is that she was afraid to talk to me. She told me, she said, I wanted you to call so bad, but then I didn't want you to call because for some reason I was afraid. And I thought to myself, first of all, I was very honored, first of all, that she shared that information with me, because it made me think, I wonder how many else are afraid. You know, they want the information, but kind of like a job interview, but you're kind of afraid to get on the phone with that person or to have that interview face to face. So hold on one second, guys. What happens when you have a fur baby that wants to go out. So I was just honored that she shared that information with me. I want to tell you just a little bit, when I get ready to talk to people on the phone, this is something that I've started doing because I understand that sometimes people's barriers are up, right? Their walls are up, their resistance is high. And that's why off the bat, I tell people, hey, you know, I'm not here to convince you of anything. And I say that exact thing. I'm not here to convince you of anything, right? I'm here because I feel like when you've been blessed, it's your responsibility to share that blessing with other people. Whether you decide this is something for you or not, it's something for you to decide, right? And so when I say that to people, it lets the walls down. It lets the barriers down. It lets the resistance down so that we can just have a chat. And honestly, when I'm on the phone with these people, I'm not thinking in my head, oh, I want them to sign so bad. Oh, I hope they say yes. I let that go. I completely detach myself from the outcome. And my goal is just to have a conversation with this person, to learn as much as I can about the person, to learn, you know, some of their dreams, and to really listen, because how many people really have somebody that is interested in them? How many people have people in their lives that is interested in talking to them and learning about their life and learning about their goals and their dreams? There's not a lot of people who have people that are interested in them like that. So for people to have the opportunity to just let it loose, to just dream out loud, to talk about the things they don't like in their life, and for somebody to be on the other end in a non-judgmental way, just listening, that's amazing. So when you get on the phone with somebody, you're going to be listening more than you're going to be talking. You want to know as much about that person as you can. And then it's your job to just present the information, to present the blessing, a possible solution for them and their family. And then that's it. Once they have the information, it's up to them whether they say yes or no. So this young lady, after we got off the phone, I sent her the link for her to browse the products and stuff like that. I made sure I connected with her on my personal page so that I can stay on her radar, so I can interact and engage with her on social media and things like that. But she didn't decide right away. So now I'm just going to continue to follow up with her until she's made a decision whether this is something for her or not. So, you know, just understand, kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand that there might be some fear involved. We all know that people are afraid of change. And so you have to keep that in mind, that we're human and we're talking to people. So just consider that. All right, here is tip number 2. Never leave a conversation without a mutually agreed next action step. This one is so important. So whether that's a follow-up call, whether that's inviting them to watch a video, whether that's inviting them to a party online or offline, or whether that's an agreement for them to join or purchase a product. Never leave the conversation with words like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Well, let me know. Those 3 words. Never just say, okay, just let me know, because you're just pretty much giving them permission to just go on about their business with no next action step. You always want to be taking people through the process, taking people kind of through that cycle. Okay. Ask people's permission to go to the next conversation. For example, would it be okay if I follow up with you next Friday? Or what is the best time to follow up so I can set it aside in my calendar? You want people to know that you're busy. You don't just have all this open time available for them to just call you whenever they want to. You want to be able to set aside that time in your calendar. You are running a business, and so you have to make sure that people understand that you are running a business and you need to set this time aside in your calendar. So ask permission to go to the next conversation, right? And then I love these words. If I, would you? If I sent you a video, would you watch it? If I sent you a link to the products, will you take a look at it? And once people give you that yes, they'll take a look at it. Make sure that you're getting a specified time, right? Okay, what time do you think you can take a look at the video? Oh, I get off at 8 o'clock, so I can look at it around 8:30. Okay, so if I followed up with you around 9 o'clock, just for about 5 minutes, just to get your feedback, would it be okay? Yes or no, and then schedule it. Put it in your calendar and make sure you follow up with that person at that assigned time, okay? You have to stay with the ball in your court. You are in control of this conversation. You cannot just be flippant and just let that person go out without any next steps. So that's tip number 2, and this one is so important, okay? Here is a good example of that. This is a young lady. Let me see, November, she must have responded to one of my ads about the opportunity. And that was in November, and I followed up with her in January. Happy New Year. The same message I sent to everybody else. And this is what she responded right away. She says, I am still interested in making extra income from home, but not till next month. She says she has to get a computer and she wants to know how much the startup cost is. So I say, no worries, right? Just conversation. Allow people to be human. We're going to talk about that. And I tell her, she asked what the startup cost is, so I'm going to give her the information that she asked for. It's $99 to get started, and I'm going to let her know that I'm going to show her how to make that money back right away. And instead of just saying, okay, I'll talk to you later, let's schedule a time to chat next month. She responds back right away, okay, how about the 15th? I say, okay, what's a good time for you? I give her my cell number. I ask her her best contact number. We get it scheduled. I let her know I have her down. I have it in my calendar. So when then February 15th comes around at 11 a.m., I'm going to be giving this young lady a call, and I am going to be signing her up to be a distributor, okay? So always make sure that even if a person says they're not ready right now, get a date that they will be ready, okay? Hold them accountable to that until they tell you otherwise. Okay, tip number three. Follow up without trying to sell anything, right? We don't want every single time that we're sending somebody a message, we're saying, hey, are you ready? Hey, are you ready? Right? Because that doesn't make people feel good. People want to buy things, but they don't want to be sold to. So here are some things that you can do without trying to sell anything. Engaging on social media, right? That's staying on people's radar. We all know that Facebook has this crazy algorithm, and in order for you to be seeing people's stuff and for people to see your stuff, you have to be engaging with your prospects on social media. So that's going through and liking, that's going through and commenting, you know, on their stuff, makes them feel good. That keeps you in their mind, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So engaging on social media. And another thing you can do is holiday cards. You know, send them people love to still get stuff in the mail. I love when I get something in the mail, like a card, especially if it's handwritten, because that lets me know that somebody took the time out to like do that for me. And that makes me feel special. And that, that's very thoughtful. So just holiday cards, just saying, hey, happy holidays, or whatever the case may be. So just think of ways that you can reach out and follow up with people without actually trying to sell anything to them. It's just all about keeping you in their mind, in their sight, on their radar. Okay. Okay. Tip number 4, reactivation follow-up. These are for people who are your loyal customers and maybe they stop ordering after 3 months, or maybe they stop ordering after 6 months, right? These people are still our loyal customers, and we need to be also staying on their radar. So the holiday cards, birthday cards, thank you cards, just because cards, you can go to the store and you can go to the dollar store or whatever, and you can purchase cards for pretty cheap. But there's also a service called send out cards. I don't have anybody that I work with specifically on that. This is not a service that I actually currently use, but this is a service that I am actually looking into to use. And this is where they will actually send out the card on your behalf to that person. And you can even set alerts to send that person a card on their birthday, or at their 1-year anniversary from buying products from you, or whatever the case may be. You can set that alerts, and that person and that company will send the card out on your behalf. And this is actually a handwritten card. It's not an electronic card. Electronic cards are no-go. You want something that shows that you took time and that you were thoughtful, and this is a thoughtful thing. Email campaigns, I personally use Aweber. This is where I have a database of people, where I have their email addresses, and I can send out information to them. I can send out information when we get new products. I can send out anything that I do that I feel like is adding value to other people. I can also send a Happy New Year or a Merry Christmas, or something like that through my Aweber. So, if you feel like this is a good time for you to really kind of take things up a notch in your business, then look into Aweber and their email campaigns. And this is something, I think Aweber is a very, very user-friendly system, especially for newbies to this kind of thing. So if that's something you're interested in, I can maybe answer some questions for you. But Aweber also has an amazing customer service. You can call them and you can ask them all kinds of questions. You can send out samples, and you can send out text messages or Facebook inboxes just saying hello, hope you have an amazing day. I hope today is blessed for you. You can do the recordings, or you can just type a message. Those are thoughtful things, and people really remember those type of things. And this may allow somebody to come back to you and purchase more products from you, or send you referrals. Okay. Devin, can you get Mom a bottle of water? So here's some extra tidbits for you guys, okay? Understand that we are not competing with other companies. We essentially are competing with life. Think about you and think about how busy you are. And we just have to allow people to be human, right? Understand that sometimes when people see your message but they don't respond, life just gets in the way. I don't know how many times I've gotten a message through Facebook and I saw the message come through and I looked at it. So for the person on the other end, it looks like it shows that I've seen the message. So they're thinking that I've ignored the message because I haven't responded right away. But what happened was I actually got distracted. Or maybe I saw the message come through and I was driving and I couldn't respond. There are so many things, and sometimes we make these assumptions that people are ignoring us when they're not. Life just got in the way, and we have to allow people just to be human, right? Ask people what is the best way to communicate with them. Not all people communicate through Facebook. Like Facebook's Messenger is the best way for people to communicate with me, but it's not always the best way for other people. We have to remember, not everybody is like us. So ask the person, what is the best way to communicate with you? This is for your teammates too who join your team. Find out the best way to communicate with them. Is it text message? Is it phone call? Is it Facebook Messenger? Is it email, right? So find out that information, and that will let down, or that will kind of decrease some of the frustration we have when it comes to follow-ups. Stay personal and stay you on social media. I cannot stress that enough. I stress that all the time, because a lot of times I honestly feel like network marketing creates cookie cutter people, because we see one person doing something and we just turn around and we do the same exact thing. And it's okay to follow people, and it's okay to get ideas, to be inspired by things. But at the end of the day, people want you. You don't want somebody to get, a duplicate of somebody else. You want people to get you. God made you unique, and you have different gifts, and you have different talents, and you have things that are valuable to offer to other people. So you want to show that who you are on social media and stay very personable. Yes, we're in a business where we sell things, but people do not want to be sold to. And so you just have to be very personal and very thoughtful, and just very genuine when it comes to living life, period. And we know this, right? Send private messages for birthdays instead of posting on the wall, right? Facebook sends you that thing where it lets you know whose birthdays are today, and you can literally just go down the line. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. There's no thoughtfulness in that to me. And then when people just abbreviate and they go HBD, that drives me crazy. Like, if you can't even take the time to completely write out happy birthday, then what's the point, right? So to me, if somebody actually took the time, stop, Riley. Sorry guys, my dog is barking. If somebody actually took the time to send me an inbox message and said, happy birthday, Alicia. I hope you have an amazing day. And I hope this year brings you an amazing abundance of blessings, or whatever it is, just the thing that somebody took the time to actually send me an inbox message instead of just going down this thing and just going through the routine when there's no thoughtfulness behind it. That says a lot. And so once again, the voice recording is also a good thing to use here, or the little snapshot videos that you can do in Messenger. Okay. Having a follow-up system. I talked about this. You have to find what system works for you, whether it's, paper, or whether you do some type of online system where you can keep a track of your people online. I actually found that I did a lot better with just a paper tracker than something online, because I needed something that was right in front of me that I can take a glance at and know, which one of my loyal customers' orders was coming up and who I need to follow up with right away. But the most important thing is to find a system that works for you, your lifestyle, and your business, because we're not all the same. We have different personalities, and other things work differently for all of us. Okay. The last thing is, don't just send out your links to your website. Don't just send links to videos without letting the person know, first of all, you're just sending out just random information. You want to get a specified time that a person is going to watch a video. You want to get a specified time that a person is going to take a look at your website, right? Because you want to know when to follow up. You have to keep the ball in your court. When you just randomly send out information, then you're always going to be having to chase this person. Did you watch the video yet? Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? If you get a specified time and you set a time and that person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, then that kind of tells you the seriousness behind that person. It's probably not a serious prospect, and then you may want to put them on the not right now list and follow up with them at a later time. So I think the last thing I have is another example here of a message, and this is just about allowing people to be human. First of all, when I respond to people's messages, it's not always the same. You have to go with your gut. We have intuition. We have a spirit for a reason. And you have to allow that to lead you. Every message cannot be cookie cutter. Every message cannot be scripted, right? So this young lady, I followed up. I talked to her back in November. I can't remember exactly what happened in November, whether we spoke or not. But the next time I followed up with her, it looks like January 5th, I sent her that same message in regards to the Happy New Year message, trying to see if you're still making extra income from home, interested in making extra income from home. And she responds back right away. And she says, yes, I am, but I'm in a bind right now, so I can't afford anything extra. Like I said, you have to allow your spirit to lead you when you're talking to people. Sometimes I'll go a step further with people and I'll just start giving them a different perspective about things, right? Because in our mind, we're like, well, if you're in a bind right now, you can't afford anything extra. That's the exact reason why you need this. You don't want to come off like that to people. We've all been in situations where we can't afford something, right? And we can't even think beyond any of that stuff. We just know that right now we can't do it. And in my particular spirit for this person, I just wanted to tell her, okay, I'll be praying for you, you know, and feel free to reach out when it's a better time. Now, I'll follow up with her probably in about a month or so just to check in to see how you're doing, you know, but just be genuine with people, be real with people, allow your spirit to leave. And something just told me that I just need to pray for this young lady. I don't need to try to convince her on why, you know, if she's broke now, she's never going to get out that situation. She needs to make a sacrifice and spend $99. I wasn't feeling that for this lady. I was feeling like this lady needed prayer. I need to uplift her in prayer. And I just need to follow up with her at a later time. So this is an exact example of how we have to allow people to be human, and we need to be human. We cannot be robots in this business. This is about building and cultivating relationships with people. So remember that comes before anything, people before profits, okay? So I hope that that information was helpful for you guys. I'm sorry about all of my interruptions, and my son never brought me my water. But anyway, I hope that you found that information helpful. Go back, take some notes. Most importantly, evaluate your follow-up system, your follow-up process that you have right now, and just see what changes you need to make so that we can make sure that we are giving people the information that they need. Because at the end of the day, remember, it's our responsibility to share this blessing with other people. And we can deprive somebody else of a blessing if we're too afraid to follow up. So let your faith be bigger than your fear. I hope this helped you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.